Welcome back!
Back at it again! We did this last year. I can't believe it's been a year since our college ranking.
Damn.
Damn.
And a lot, but not a lot has changed.
No, not really. There's only two of us.
Yes.
There was like, how many of us did, there was 6 of us
There
that
were,
did?
yes. 1, 2, 6.
There's a
There's
few
2.
cameos with
Yeah.
Now it's just last two to survive. Oh, and we got
A
a dog
third member
joining us.
was meant to be here, but we got a new replacement.
This is the replacement. Alright, which show would you like to talk about first?
Let's go with... What's Break a Sweat?
That is the film I did, actually, over the summer.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, I can talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So, it was originally meant to be... was supposed to film it?
Oh, it was that one.
Yeah, and he couldn't make it. He couldn't do the filming because of work, so he reached out and was like, "Does anyone free over the Easter holidays to film?" And I was like, "I'm not doing anything. I'd like some more experience filming. Sure, why not? I can film."
Yeah.
He was in this like student accommodation, so the student hadn't moved in yet, so he wasn't home. And there were, oh my days, there were 6 of us in a room. We had this huge lamp, right? It got so hot that they had to move it with oven gloves. If they wanted to touch it or adjust it. 6 of us in this room, boiling hot. We have a window that opens about this much because of safety.
Yeah.
No fans. We had to turn the fridge off. Because it caused too much noise for the sound man. I was there absolutely sweating because I decided my costume was going to be a jumper. Regretted that decision. Joggers and t-shirt and a jumper. And then the film was about like, you know those videos of like people eating? And they just have a huge bunch of food and they just eat it all. Mukbang, that's it. So it was about a YouTuber and he doesn't know what he wants to do, so he's tried a bunch of stuff. And then he tries mukbang videos.
Oh no.
Yes.
How was the food?
I loved every part of filming except for the script. Because I didn't enjoy eating that food. We had jam and jellies. A delicious line of jams and jellies.
Jams and jellies.
Jams and jellies.
Jams and jellies.
Anyway, and I had to eat it with a bunch of food. So I had to eat it with pretzels, cupcakes. There was a bit where I dunked a lemon cake slice into the jam and then just shoved the whole thing into my mouth. I had to cold lasagna.
Lovely.
With jam.
Did they not? Oh, that's a horrible combo.
Yeah, I had to eat cold mash, frozen peas with jam. I remember one bit, and the sound guy, I feel so sorry for that sound guy because he was getting ASMR of all of this.
ASMR treat.
Yeah. They told me to be as disgusting as possible when eating. And I was just there. All the noises, the jelly.
Heaven.
Yeah. There was one bit where I felt my tummy gurgle, and I just spat while I was chewing out, and I was like, if I had chewed that for any longer, I would have thrown up. It was disgusting. It was the eating bit was not good. I loved working with the people.
Yeah.
The camera girl was really fun. The director was quite nice, and I was trying my best to body the role. And I had a bit of like makeup and whatnot. It was quite good, quite cool. But and I just watched the film today. They just sent it over to me today. Yeah, it was quite. It was like 8 minutes, and it was a week of filming.
Yeah.
So, 4 days of filming.
4 days of horror.
For an 8-minute film.
What did it cost?
Yeah, but you know, it was quite nice to be. I did enjoy working with them, despite the fact that I did not enjoy eating all that food.
Yes.
It put me off eating for like the entire time I was filming.
God.
I'm
I'm glad I didn't reply to that.
Yeah, you could have done that. I remember talking to Austin, and I was like, "Did you just say you couldn't do it because you didn't want it covered in jam and food?" I'm not quite sure where to rank it, to be honest.
Where should we put a relatively new board? I haven't seen it yet, so
I'm going to show you the film after.
Yes.
Don't eat food while watching it. That's my only advice. I'm just going to put it in like a solid mid-tier, C-tier, I think.
Yeah,
Probably.
I was looking at C and D.
Yeah.
Let's do Dr. McTutti's Scent Emporium.
Dr. McTutti's Scent Emporium.
So, we were doing, was it called multimedia?
Multimedia exam, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Multimedia theatre.
And basically, we had to put up a play that was interactive for the audience. So you know how last year H&D we did that murder mystery.
Yeah, Christmas murder mystery. Yeah.
Similar to that sort of scenario. Another group did do murder mystery.
Yeah.
I would have liked to do another one.
Yeah, I remember watching them. Yeah.
I think if there was like a whole cast situation, then yeah, it could have done a bigger murder mystery story. However, we were split into 3 different groups. Or was it 4? Yeah, 4. One of them was a wedding. Another was
It was a circus.
yes, and yeah, the murder mystery.
And then who else?
I went there were 5 groups actually. Right, there was that one that was kind of set in like a hospital. I can't remember what it was about, but it sort of told the life of a character going through something.
Right, okay.
And then ours.
Just an FYI, I didn't pick this module. You had to pick a module, and I picked tech theatre, so I wasn't involved in the show.
Wrong choice. Anyway, then our group, we did sort of like the idea was like an infomercial. You know, like those.
Yeah.
Basically, like flex tape. That was our inspiration, actually. And we named it Dr. McTutti's Scent Emporium, where we were trying to make a new fragrance line called. I believe it was called.
It was
Something something French. It was something French.
You've got the poster on your phone. When you
Oh yeah, I did.
it was on fringe, on friche,
Terry on Friche.
Terry on friche.
That was the one.
Because you're like Terry on fringe, on friche, on friche.
Oh yeah, I had to make a mistake. So yeah, there was
That's part of the script.
4 of us working on it.
Yeah.
Ended up being 3 in the end. Well, 3 actors because one had to drop
One
out.
dropped out.
Basically, we told it was the story of it went well, basically giving a brief story of how the team of, or as we called it, the boffins of Dr. McTutti's Scent Emporium had to go out and find the ingredients for this new fragrance in exotic locations. So we had to go to like the Amazon rainforest or anywhere you can think, kind of like some Willy Wonka, but for perfume fragrance.
Yeah, it was full of shenanigans and whatnot.
And we managed to find the ingredients, but there's also another ingredient that was very heavy and would cause people to have hallucinations and get high. And basically, the story was that there was a mistake in the making of it, and we put the wrong ingredients in.
Berry.
So everyone got high as if the audience saw the hallucinations that we were seeing.
Yeah, I did enjoy that bit.
Yes, and then you also, towards like the last 2 days, helped out as well.
Yeah, so I come in ready to rehearse a show that we'll get to later in this podcast. And I didn't realize that our rehearsal week had been cancelled for a week of rehearsing for them because they had show weeks and whatnot on. And I was like, well, I'm here now. I might as well do some work on the show while I'm doing it. You know, just like some written work, doing some research. Anyway, so, and then I realized, and then, yeah, you were just like, hey, can you help us with the tech side of things? And I was like, sure. And yeah, so I just got dragged into your group.
Yeah.
Which was quite enjoyable.
It was fun to... The filming bits were good fun. And we put a lot of distortion into the edit, so there was a moment where I had to film an interview with Dr. McTutti, who played, of him telling about the new fragrance. We filmed in that little park area in Gloucester. That's to show footage of us going out into the wilderness to find these ingredients. So yeah, it was good fun to form, and I mean,
the dance bit at the end when everyone was drugged up and they got everyone to dance.
We had to wear those latex animal masks.
Oh yeah,
those were a nightmare to form in. You couldn't breathe in them. It was like the gas masks, only you could slightly breathe better. I mean, all in all, I think the problem was we spent too much time focusing on little sort of side quests at the beginning of the unit, not actually getting into the actual...
Yeah. That was kind of like
individual
as well, but we'll get to that later.
So I think that's really what let it down, was not enough time to get everything perfect. But it went rather well in the end, I think. Better than we thought we had originally thought, I think.
So where do you think it would go?
Ooh, I'm thinking B or C.
Well, you get the right to choose this one because it really was your show. I think a lot of people did enjoy it.
Put in B for now.
Put it in B for now, and then
B.
Lie down there. Lie down. Stop eating grass. You're getting stuck in.
Bear with us.
Alright. What are we thinking now?
What's next? Let's do the funeral.
That was acting for camera.
Yes. A module that we all picked.
Alright.
Luckily for this unit, there was no written part. It was all practical.
Yes, it was
Which was
all
lovely.
practical. It was
Having
lovely.
come off the back of that, we had to do a essay about semiotics, which we never really
We can talk
knew
about that
before.
in a bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
The funeral. What do you think about it?
I liked it. I think It was good fun to film. I mean, we were all working together in the same group. We were all split into different groups, so I had to be called in.
It was groups of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we worked well together. That was good. And I mean, I think the only thing would have been maybe you and me being the brothers. I think basically we probably look more alike then.
Yeah.
But I was okay with playing that role. The cameras. Robin. Robin was his name.
Yeah, you were Robin, I was Ash. And it was Jay.
Yeah.
I felt like a little bit too comfortable with the role of Ash. It felt just like I feel like when it comes to the film and TV, I get the angry or depressed characters because I've been purely acting for camera wise. The boss was a serious guy.
Yeah.
Very minimalistic facial expressions in Limpy. Tiberius was, angry mob boss. He had a lot more facial expressions, but he was still the villain, so he had more anger. Then, of course, Break a Sweat. I had to very much just very miserable. My character was.
Yeah.
He was going through a midlife crisis. And then the funeral, and again, very deadpan, quite angry, because he has issues with his father, and he really hates his dad, his father issues. He's got daddy issues. Can't have daddy issues without daddy. Yeah, I felt like I wasn't. I think I would have preferred to be your character, just because
I enjoyed the character, I think.
Yeah.
And I understood how he must have been feeling just going to the unknown of this, introducing myself to the rest of the family. They don't know this, so it maybe comes a shock. Also,
I really would have liked.
I think
to
some
see
of the
whole
grammar
episode.
was a little bit.
The what?
The grammar.
Grammar. Oh,
Could have had some adjustments.
let's not be polite about it.
It wasn't exactly great to read out loud.
Yeah, the script. The line of let's not be polite about it was a bit of a
Yeah, I didn't quite understand
your monologue bits.
Oh gosh, sorry, just the back of my shirt is on fire. Yeah, that line I didn't always understand how to respond to that. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to mean. I don't know if it was meant to be sarcastic, let's not be polite about this, or.
I think the thing to react to was the comment before of him being yeah, we know. It's yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't melt your phone.
Everything's melting. I am melting.
My dog has black fur and she's sitting right here in the sun, and I moved her into the shade and she comes back into the sun. It becomes a thing of we have to go inside so the dog don't overheat, because she won't go inside alone. She likes to be with company. Anyway, yeah, the funeral. I did like the script, and I wish it was a bit longer. I would have loved to see what happens next.
A 20-minute short film would have been fine, I think.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we could write the rest of the script.
Yeah.
Where are we putting it?
I'm thinking A or B. What about you?
Do you think it's the same or better than Sent Emporium?
Ooh. It's tricky. Because Centre Point was fun to perform. It was just the behind the scenes of it was quite
Behind the scenes
grueling.
were a bit iffy, whereas out of camera, especially the unit, was like enjoyable all throughout.
Yeah. We'll put it in. We'll keep it in B.
Put it in B for now. What's next? Which one would you?
Backstage. What? Oh, that was the last.
I want to save this one for last.
Yes.
Backstage. I can
Backstage.
quickly talk about Backstage.
Yes.
So,
I did want to come see that. It's just because it was Father's Day weekend.
You had plans.
Yep.
Yep. I missed Father's Day because of this. Because we did our Father's Day on a Thursday, because I see my dad on a Thursday. So...
Move over there. Should we? Or we find
What's the swing seat? Yeah, we can. We can pause it.
But the back of my neck is gonna combust.
So, Backstage. I can quickly talk about Backstage. So Matt chose to do multimedia. I didn't. I chose to do tech theatre. And this is the show I worked. So I didn't perform in it,
No.
but I worked on it. And tell you what, the module itself, because like when I was thinking, I'm gonna do tech theatre, I was thinking I'm gonna learn how to program the lights and be a light technician or sound technician and learning how to do all the cues for the sound.
Yeah.
Nope. You learn how to be a stage manager. You and two other people, or in my case it was one other person. You learn how you be a backstage team. One of you is stage manager.
Yeah.
One of you is deputy stage manager, who basically they run all the scripts. And then assistant stage manager. So you got stage manager is in charge of running the show. They make sure everyone's in order. They assign the roles. They do as much as they can. They make everything.
Yeah.
Then you got deputy stage manager. They are the ones who are doing all the cueing. So they are writing down every movement every actor does in a scene. They have to write that down. They have to write down when every lighting change, every sound effect or music cue.
Write that down.
Yeah, they're next to the director at all times, writing everything down. And then during the show, they're telling people, okay, and you're on now, music now, lights now. Originally, that was my role. Didn't want it. So before the show, I was like, can I please change it? And they were like, yeah, you can be stage manager. And then assistant stage manager does all the stuff. So they do all the prop making, getting the props.
Yeah.
Whatnot. Anyway, so yeah, Backstage, I was not enjoying the tech theatre unit at all. Then
Let's
I read
talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Oh, right. So
You know you want to get off your chest.
Yeah. Okay. So originally, Backstage was not the play I was assigned to do. Originally, it was called another one called. And I got moved to Backstage, and Backstage was lovely. The cast, lovely. But yeah, Backstage was a good show. It was about, the backstage shenanigans of. It's a show about people making a show. So you get to see like the rehearsal progress and people making stuff, like the costumes and the props and whatnot. And the show keeps going wrong, and people keep sabotaging it.
Yeah.
There's one character which we kept going.
Safe.
Not react.
Not react.
You are the saboteur.
You are the saboteur.
Someone almost dies in it. There's a ghost. And it's a musical. And what was so impressive about it was that one of the actresses in there, she wrote original songs and music for the show. Yeah, it was so impressive. And the songs were beautiful, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous. But, yeah, we had a lot of trouble with the microphones. You know how you were mic'd up?
Yeah.
Everyone was mic'd up for the show. And if they got too close together or too close to the speaker, there was interference. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's bits where, while having a microphone on, they're like getting intimate with each other and like hugging and whatnot. And yeah, how to ruin a romantic moment. And there was bits where, like, there was a bit in one show, 3 people's microphones turned off. Like, they got basically, there's a plug, and while they're changing, they unplugged it. So they come backstage and I have to plug them back in, fix their microphones during the show. Honestly, though, yeah, it was really fun. Me and we really enjoyed it, to the point that said that he almost regrets picking drama level 6. He wished he did performing arts level 6. I think that's just because the actors were more our age, but
more
they were
our
younger.
level of banter. And,
Yeah, but there was drama backstage.
which we had history with.
Backstage was it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it would I didn't perform in it, so I'm not sure if it should be ranked as high as everyone did that. But I did thoroughly enjoy making the show.
Yeah.
So
Was it more enjoyable than breaking a sweat?
yes. You know what? I feel like I want to put Backstage in C tier and Breaking Sweat in D.
I was thinking swapping the two.
Yeah, I think that's what I do. Individual
Should we
show.
go in the order it went in?
Yeah, so it went 1, 2, 3. So we'll start with.
This is a tale of the individual showcase.
So yeah,
It was the first module we were actually working on.
first module at uni, yeah, and
Basically, the idea of the module was we would each perform our own individual performance, and we were allowed to pick any script. I think. Well, it had to be a stage script, and give it some individual magic. So my idea was based off this performer who we watched, who visited the college in HNC, was it?
yeah, HNC. I don't know.
Basically, it was like a one-man show thing where there would be one man playing all different characters with just very little subtle changes to
so he would get
identify different characters.
He would get a hat or put on a scarf, or you would get a pipe.
Yeah.
And he would just change his mannerisms and the way he talked to instigate his different character. It was very good. And basically, individual showcase, like the name suggests, we had to do a 10-minute one-man show.
Yeah.
10 to 12 minutes, thereabout.
Or,
So
basically each person had to be so if there were people in...
Yeah, you could have other people in the show.
They won't be graded.
But, yeah, they weren't getting graded for it. And you had to be the main focus of your piece. So, yeah, talking about the start...
I remember how it started. I remember we were assigned with a mystery box. It was kind of like Taskmaster.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think this was where we realised what we had signed ourselves up for joining Uni Level 6. We had to come up with a short performance based off what we found in the box. And we were also given a short
news
article where to, have the performance based around.
Yeah.
And we're only given half an hour to work on it. And my brain was having none of it. It was in overthinking overload. It was until the last minute where I decided to come up with an actual script or something. And then when it came to actually performing it, I was doing that thing in my head where this actually doesn't make much sense as I had written beforehand, and I was like, sort of freezing up, but still carrying on. Like, I'll just get this over with.
I remember
Heavily walked off.
I remember my
Like,
box
yeah.
was like a very thin like scarf or something, and a piece of fabric really, and then it was about like being environmentally friendly and whatnot, and I managed to turn that into a piece about like a 2-minute piece about how a car manufacturer would react when they're told that they're no longer allowed to make petrol cars. So he's there and he's like, "What do you mean we have to do electric? How's a AA battery meant to power a car?" And he's like over panicking and whatnot, and yeah, it was just. But yeah, we had to do the most annoying thing about the individual showcase was that we were told we have to create a 10-minute piece, and I was like, "Oh yeah, great!" I came up with so many ideas of like, "Oh, I could do this." Like one of them was like, "Oh, I could do a interview with a criminal," and like you're locked in a insane asylum, and it's like the interview with like Tiberius type of deal, or interview with Limpy, where like the interviewer would be sat in the audience with the camera, and he'd be talking to the audience, and he would be like explaining why he like killed people or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then another one was like a detective solving a mystery and whatnot, kind of based off the inspector from Santa's Winter Meltdown.
Yeah.
And he's like solving the mystery.
Actually,
And
you know what? That would be quite a good play. Having the detective from the murder mystery trying to solve the slasher murder mystery of Limpy.
do a crossover.
I think that would be great. Yeah, trying to uncover who Limpy is.
Well,
Anyway.
you might have given away the plot of the Limpy too.
Well, spoilers.
Anyway, but yeah, it had to be based off a pre-existing text, which I wasn't a fan of. And I was thinking about doing the Antov Chekhov, what was it, Dangerous Tobacco?
Yeah.
But that was the last performance I did, so that was just going through my head. And it's like, I've already done this. So I was thinking, and then I didn't know what else to do, so I picked Mugged by Andrew Payne. And I combined elements of the dialogue and the story in Act 1 with the monologue at the end. It was fun. You got SpongeBob stuff?
Yes, Patrick.
Patrick Star.
Anyway.
I got boring.
Well,
Grey and white stuff. Yeah, so I combined those two elements together. So the monologue at the end from the character of Dig. Basically, character Dig, he has a best friend called Marky. Marky gets killed. It's his fault. Because he was crushing over a girl. So I played that, and I had to make it comedic. That was the thing. It was like, this is a sad piece. And my lecturer was saying, "Oh, you make it a bit more comedic." And I didn't agree with her at first, but then looking back, it made sense because most of the play was comedic. The bit where I broke down and started just bawling my eyes out really had an impact.
yeah.
And I remember like the twins saying to me, like, they actually thought I was crying. I was like, okay, thanks. But yeah,
Great actor.
Thank you. I'm such a great actor. But yeah, it was just the reason I didn't like Mugged as a choice. I do enjoy the play, and it has a special place in my heart. But I did it for secondary school. I already knew the lines. It wasn't anything new for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't challenging. I didn't challenge myself, which is why I regret picking it. But I did enjoy my performance, and I did enjoy the end result. I just wish I picked something different. Yeah, something a bit newer.
Yeah.
And something more comedic, to be honest, because I've done a lot of like serious acting or sad stories. I just wish I did something a little more
kind of the opposite, because I had done a lot of comedic or comic relief characters for like college, and I was kind of like, I want to do something different, or the opposite, and well, it kind of happened, but not.
Well, you did with the funeral,
Yeah,
and I guess with the Newcomer.
eventually, yeah, it was a lot more like serious.
I don't know where I want to put mine because this show did go well, but I don't feel like it should be ranked as high as the other two in individual. Personally,
You think?
especially like yours in particular, I think is like A tier. So I think maybe B. I mean, it's still mugged after all.
Also, we had to sort of do little tech roles, so we'd
Yeah.
also be signed up to help with others' individual acts.
Yeah, 'cause
so
you
I
were-
was helping you, but
You
what I had to do
you were
was-
my ushers, and
Yeah,
he
that
was my
was-
lighting,
that was hard to do.
and we were also his ushers and his, which we'll get to in a minute. But let's talk about yours.
I did One Man, Two Govnors, which is a.
Which is A.
It's
A tier. Well, which is A. Excellent. We've just.
That's all, folks. I can tell you like the premises of it.
Yeah.
So, a man who is, as the monologue I perform, reveals. So this guy called Henshaw, Tommy Henshaw. I'm gonna have to. Basically, he was recently, fired from his skiffle band and needed money for like food. Came across this governor called Roscoe Crab, who is in disguise. Who's actually the main character's sister, who they think is dead, I think, and the second governor who you play,
Stanley Stubbs.
Stanley Stubbs, I think, was the person who. It was something between them.
I didn't know this.
Basically, the idea was. So my character would be working for the two governors, but the two governors wouldn't know that I'm working
Yeah,
for.
he's trying to hide the
another
fact
one.
that he's working for two governors.
So there were moments where he gets all confused, and he's like, so there was a line that says, Henshaw, have you got my trunk out? And it says, like, oh, I've already got your trunk out. Nope. Don't worry, Roscoe. I'll get it for you in a jiffy, because...
You need this letter of
beforehand-
authorization.
Oh,
I've already
yes.
got one of those. I don't need two, do I?
So, the two governors had the same equipment as well. So, the other governor would ask for these errands for him to run, which he's already been asked to, go on and do. It was very fun to perform as well. Also, like with your mugs, it was kind of one I had performed before.
Yeah. Well, you did it as a audition, but you never performed it.
No.
But you were familiar with the script.
Yes. Because I remember they said, which one should you do? I was like, and then they said the Shakespeare one, so I went with that one instead. I do recommend to watch it, and it has a very fun soundtrack.
Gonna have to watch it then.
Remember there was that lesson where we'd have to
Yeah.
we had to bring in a piece of music and then sort of move in the feeling
Yeah.
of the music, and then you have to analyze it in a way, and I picked all the songs from the play.
Yeah, it was a very. I just pictured like someone busking
Yeah.
outside with a guitar, so that's what I did. The whole song. It was very.
It was definitely the most proud performance I'd done at uni. I was like, that felt good. And based off audience reaction and I guess the overall performance as well.
And audience participation.
Yeah, a little bit. And we did sort of work our way around that. So if it doesn't happen, then how will we do it? So basically, there's a moment where I ask people from the audience ideas, and then, well, if that doesn't work, then ask someone at the front, what's your last name? Funny enough, it was our lecturer from college who I asked.
Yeah, she came to see the show. Ah, that was brilliant.
And I thought, oh well, we'll go with that. And I stuck with it. And I don't think the audience really knew that was actually their last name, but it worked. And I remember watching it back, and so the moment where I go, you don't suppose there's a discarded bag of chips, and you sort of throw the bin away. You could see the twins sort of jump in shock when I kick the bin.
Oh, that just reminded me of my piece. I absolutely kicked the bin straight into the back wall, so away from the audience. Every time I did that, huge dent where I kicked it.
Yeah,
The whole bin just went
caved in.
and I had to fix it because then it gets used in your.
You like jazz?
I remember
I'm making that gravestone.
during the bit where I fight myself, I had to choreograph that.
That was funny.
And I don't think they realised there was a crash mat behind.
No, because it was black and it blended in.
Did let the elbow drop. You could just hear Sue chuckling at the end of that.
Yeah,
It's like, that went well.
Where does it rank?
I might put it A.
I think A, to be honest.
And then it was.
Yeah, well, we don't have much to say on purely because we're not. So, but we were in it, and we, like I played like a very minor role in yours, where I came on, said a few lines, and then walked off. Whereas in we were on for the whole.
You're essential character, but weren't there for.
Yeah, we were much more supporting roles.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were on for the whole thing. I enjoyed the work dynamic, but I think it was a little bit.
Just the improv that was kind of because we had to come up with little improv or topics to talk about in between. Actual.
Which would then also
performance.
segue into his big dialogue bits.
Yeah.
So we eventually got something, and I was so mad because we did like fish and chips, but it was like an innuendo, and none of the audience got that. And I was like, "Come on, why didn't you get that?" It's like maybe we should have picked something funnier. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, it's because I think it was just the improv stuff that was just tricky because I know we could do it normally, but when we're actually trying to perform it, you don't know if there's going to be the same reaction as we would have together.
We basically improv'd it a few times, and then we got like basically a running order of like, okay, we're going to say this, but we didn't have a concrete script, so we didn't know what we were going to say really, and then it just became. But I do think it went well. We did get a lot of laughs. I don't know. Wish we had a little bit more time to maybe come up with something a little bit funnier. But then at the same time, we weren't supposed to take attention away from he was the main focus. So if we did something elaborate and funny, we can have. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't even pick the script; he got given it. So
Yeah, because he was going to do one about wrestling at first.
yeah, he had multiple. He had one where he was like a kids presenter with a puppet, and I have a puppet, so I was going to give him my puppet.
Mm.
Yeah. Eventually, he was given this. So again, I can't really say because I'm not, so I don't know where to put it.
I think this is the hardest one because I remember when we finished, I was like, it was good. We did a good job, but I guess I'll say about the audience reaction. As well.
Yeah, the audience did not really react
No.
to this one at all.
I guess I could just, if I were to describe it, it's kind of like some kind of office scene.
Yeah. 3 people working in an office,
So it
and
was
then
like
the
the
machine's
interview
broken.
moments with, Riley, and then the actual office scene with the 3 of us. I don't know.
He's not here to say where he would put it.
What do you think he would say?
Maybe C. Put it with Backstage.
Yeah.
I think he would put Backstage higher. But I think because C is still really good. Let's not everything. I'd say C and above is good. D is like it's alright, It's E and F you don't want to be in.
I think that's the order I would have put them in, I think.
Right. The Newcomer. So this is also acting for camera. This is the one, the last one we did.
Yeah, we finished that last week.
Last week, I got the footage back as well and watched it, and they edited it for us. They got the multi-camera footage back. Yeah, so.
And we also
really
were
good.
working with.
Yeah,
Who was that? A director from the BBC.
Yeah,
I enjoyed working with him. Actually.
he was good. Although one thing I would say is that because we just did theatre, our minds were very theatre. Or at least my mind was very theatre. So my facial expressions, he kept telling me, "All right, can you tone it down with the facial expressions?" And I'm like, "Okay, tone it down." And because I'd done a lot of serious active camera, I really wanted to make this one a lot more comedic. But with direction, I made it, and it ended up being a lot more mature, serious.
Yeah,
which is it's fine, but I want to do a little bit more, something a little bit more comedic to add to my resume. But
I think I enjoyed this script more than the funeral, or I enjoyed the scenario more.
Yeah.
At first, I imagined it a bit like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
We weren't in the same filmed piece.
We were split into different groups for this one.
Yeah, I was working with.
I was with, and I think the idea was the DC, what's the name? We thought the Newcomer was the
The Newcomer's the boss.
Yeah.
So we got a new boss, and we've done something a little bit risky. We've read a file.
Sort of gone behind,
Well, you've read a file, and then you've told me, and I'm like, oh my days, I can't believe you've done that. And then I'm basically backing him up. We both did it, yes. And then we basically get told off. But basically, it's like there's a rotten detective or police officer in the building, and we're trying to find out who it is.
So, as if we were just trying to find evidence to back this lead up. At first, it reminded me of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the character, because I remember. Now, something I learnt in this module is don't add line or ad lib.
Don't ad lib in acting for camera.
I know Chris Hemsworth does it, and there's some. You can get away with some improv. I guess if you have asked the director first.
Or at least multi-cam, definitely can.
Mm.
But in when it's like multiple shots, you can't. They have to link it up.
So, the original lines went, recognize this, Frank. It's a file, Mum. I know it's a file. However, because I was thinking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine or what was his name?
Jake Peralta.
Yeah. So I would add something like, I'm no expert, but that's a file, Mum. Or,
I'm no expert, but that looks like a file, man.
wow, it's a
And-
file, Mum.
Yeah,
So
and
it's all sarcastically.
I kept saying unintentionally. My last line is, maybe she's not such a dead loss. But I kept accidentally saying, maybe she's not such a dead loss after all. I kept getting told off for adding after all.
It's a shot the worst than last line. It still makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But,
You gotta be very precise because
yes.
But I loved the setup. I loved the being filmed in front of multi-cameras.
Mm.
And it was very quick.
And I think it was just, also getting back into the comfort of the script as well, and trying to remember some of the movements, because we had just come off the back of, we did
The
get
show
like
we're
a
about
month-
to talk about, yeah.
We did get a month break from, after we did our last show stage show.
Yeah.
But
The last time we rehearsed it was like 2 months ago. So it was like, you rehearsed it 2 months ago, 2-month break. Alright, now go film it.
okay.
Okay, let me remember what we did. Where do we think the Newcomer goes?
It did also suffer the same problem, which was grammar. Remember? What's the line? Someone's covering up Brinks' tracks, otherwise why restrict information? Or it could have been just someone is covering up Brinks' tracks.
That's why it being held back. It's just like, yeah, he has the file. This physical file has his prints on the computer. How does that work?
Yeah, the file has his prints
On the computer.
The computer has his.
You see, that bit didn't make sense to me. But yeah, what can you do?
The file's prints. No. Also, I was thinking of how I would have done the boss as well.
Yeah.
Like, recognize this, Frank. Yeah.
I think,
bit more.
yeah, Russ, was it Rusko? I think the character's name was?
Russell. D.I. Russell. C.I.D. Yeah, D.C.I. Russell.
C.I. Russell, I think. But yeah, I was thinking, like, if I was that character, I would have been, like, cheerful up until the point where it's like, oh, really? Well, you should know, because you are just reading it! Like, the sudden switch. To be like, so it's like, if here's an Anton deck, my favourite boys. Do you recognise this, bro? It's a file. Yeah. I know it's a bloody file, but, whose file is it? Oh, well, you should know, because you are just reading it!
Where would it go?
B?
Yes.
Thingy B?
Yeah. And last, but certainly not least,
Are you sure about that?
certainly is persistent. It's persistent illusion.
The Persistent Illusion was our last theatre performance, the last show we worked on together.
Aye. What can we say?
Well, there's two aspects well, there's three aspects we could look at it. One, the essay. Two, the production, like the first 2 months of production. And then three, the actual performance itself.
I have many comments I just randomly wrote down about the bad and the good sides of.
Do you have that list?
Yes, I do.
Put it up. So, for creating the persistent illusion, it was Oh, no. All right. We'll start from the beginning. We're split into three groups.
The idea was about.
We're split into three groups, and we're given an object each, and we had to come up with a theatre idea to present to the rest of the class. Matt, what was your thing?
Ours was this. How would you describe the genre?
It was a
when it's like
rotarily dial.
When it sets in like the future, a bit like
No,
in a way...
your object was a phone.
Oh yeah, that.
It was a rotary dial phone. You know that thing. If you played That's Not My Neighbor, that's the type of phone you get.
So ours was the idea we had was this psychedelic TV show called Living in a Box, where a member of the audience will be picked at random, and it was kind of like the Hunger Games sort of way. So they will be picked into this random picker.
Yeah.
They'll be brought into this box. The idea was that time, space, and reality in general moved separately from the real world in the box. So you could be in this box, which was I kept describing it as like Pandora's box, or just a void, or just the void where how Doctor is just the void in between space and time.
Yeah.
And he could have been in there for like
he doesn't know how long.
5 minutes, half an hour, a day, and maybe a week or 2 weeks, a month could have gone by.
Yeah, no one knows.
And there'll be this. You'd start having hallucinations, and be seeing this figure called the Illusion, who would, in a way, sort of guide this prisoner or member in the game show and sort of guide him to survive this ordeal and try and get out.
Yeah,
that was basically it.
That was his group. My group had a box with a key in it. So of course, the most logical explanation or course of action, of course, coming from this is dystopian Mars.
Not to show the magic key. I remember that.
Jamie had the magic key.
You remember the Biff, Chip and Kipper?
Biff, Chip and
Is it Kipper?
I think it was
Biff, Chip
and Floppy the dog.
Yes.
Yep.
Why did we do that?
So the story was we were on Mars in the future, and this person called Aurora Schrodinger, that's an important name, and Artemis Schrodinger. And Artemis is a wizard on Mars. Now, Aurora is very big on technology and
improving society.
Artemis did a spell where he brought down a box, and the box had a key, and it crashed into someone's car and knocked them out, and then the car ends up running him over and killing him.
Don't forget the parrot.
And there's a parrot on Mars in this dystopian future. The thing is, in particular, he did so much research, he did so much lore building into this Mars. We designed and like the economy, this city where
society,
everything, like entertainment and like sick entertainment that mocks them. We have the poor people at the top of the volcano that harvest the water and sends it down in pipes.
The bottom end
the
people.
Bottom.
I guess you call them the nomads, sort of like trying.
Yeah, then we have the nomads in the middle who, there was so much lore
It was like classes of society, so it was like
did
a higher.
not get explained
People than
at all
villains.
in the show because there was just too much. And I was like, we're writing a TV show worth of, backstory
It
here.
was sort of like the situation of ours.
And
And last
yeah, it was so much. And then the last group had a typewriter, and they created
sort of like a fairy tale.
a bunch of So it was a bunch of
Universe.
stories, and then when the story goes haywire, they screw it up. They start a new story, but it's the same characters. And we presented all these ideas to our director, and they went,
Let's have all three.
"Yeah, let's do all three." Oh, honestly, I still think, like, personally, I'd love your Living in a Box, but I think it should have been a TV show. It would have made a fantastic TV show. I think for theatre production, if we went all out on the book group, would have been brilliant.
There was more characters in there.
Yeah, we could have done
And all the characters in the universe could then, meet or meet. Exactly as how it did in the end.
And yeah,
to get too shortly.
the problem was we were all writing. We're all writing in our separate groups, our separate stories.
Yes.
And the only thing we knew is that we had to cross them over at some point
But we
before
didn't know
the
when.
end of Act 1.
But we didn't know when we would
Yeah, but
make that crossover.
there was nobody knew. So our group, the Mars group, we decided that before Act 1 ends, we were kicking all of our characters out of Mars. We came up with a portal in a cave, and it was like the cave changed so many times. Originally, it was like, this is a doorway between. There's like a corridor with so many doors, and it leads to all the different dimensions. Then it changed to there's just one door, and if you use a different key on the door, it takes you to a different place. That got scrapped to you place your. If you have a certain tattoo on you, you place your arm on a particular spot, and a portal opens up. It's like, okay, that's what we're going with now. But yeah, we ended up kicking all of our characters out of Mars, basically to be like, all right, your two groups now have to figure out what to do with these characters. Here you go. That's it. You have to incorporate these characters into your stories now. The book group was very separate. Like, I don't think the Mars characters didn't really cross over with them until the very end of the story.
Apart from
Tibet. Yeah, Tibet was in. Yeah. And like one of them, yeah. It was just,
I feel like everyone in the Living in a Box died. Well, they did really.
Everyone died.
Like
The problem is we kept writing our own separate stories. Then we argued over what the ending was going to be. Didn't know what the ending was going to be. Kept writing, and then
didn't know what the box actually.
We didn't know what the box was. We didn't know what the key unlocked. We didn't know who the creator of everything was. We didn't know what the ending was going to be. There were so many arguments about what the ending was going to be.
We'll get to that.
And then it came to the point where we had to write this script and put it together. And then we had to, when we were performing it, we're realizing, well, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense because we've written it separately. So then we had to backtrack, rewrite it, different scenes, segments, and then I really don't like the ending, to be honest with you, but you got more to say before we get onto that.
There's something I was going to talk about, but I think that should be saved for the actual performance segment of it.
We'll move on to performance segment?
No, it's okay. I was going to bring up this
yes. Go with your list.
We'll start with the positives.
Mm-hmm.
Each story would make a great show or series on their own.
There's a keyword. Keep you with that.
3 words. On their own.
Yeah.
Number 2. Everyone given a substantial role in the end.
in the end.
Originally, we didn't know what character you were going to be performing.
Yeah, we wrote so in our heads, or at least our group's head, we were writing a play to then just the idea was what we thought it was in our group is we wrote the play and then we auditioned for someone else's play. So like, oh, we're the directors of Mars segment because we wrote it, and then we get like the book group or the TV group to be cast in ours. Apparently, that's not what everyone else did. Apparently, what everyone else did was they were writing themselves into their own scripts. We didn't do that. So we cast other people in ours, which then led to the fact that I didn't have a role in any of the shows because I didn't have a role in Mars because there was very few characters. And then of course I didn't have a role in any of the other two groups because I'm not in the other two groups. So I just straight up didn't have a role for the majority of the making of it. And then one of the people dropped out, and I ended up being the Doctor.
Yes.
In Living in a Box, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I did love that role, but it does get me thinking. Like, if he hadn't dropped out,
Who would you have been?
who would I have been? Because, oh boy,
The parrot?
oh, I'm gonna say it now. I did not like the pirate. Because I did not like the Mars story. I was like, I got on board with it like later on as we started developing it. Because when we first initially came up with the Mars idea, I was like, how the hell are you supposed to put this on a stage? What are we making? And then it was just like, I can't remember who suggested it, but like one of them was just like, what if they had a sidekick, like a parrot? A cyberpunk parrot on Mars, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose it. The parrot dies, by the way. He goes through a portal and you never see him again.
That was one of the questions. So, literally, like, the next week, I think, after the show, I went to the fencing society. Oh, there's a bonus one we had to put in.
What?
The stage combat.
That wasn't a show. But if it was S tier.
We can probably talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Or if we just round up with what we thought of Union Yen, or we save for another episode.
I think we'll save that, like, uni life for another episode.
Yeah. Where was I?
Substantial role.
Yes. Next, exposition. I mean, I'm happy with some exposition, but I might also have the negative as there was too much exposition.
There was a lot, especially the second to final scene of the show was just full exposition dump after exposition dump after exposition dump. Because again, we didn't know what was going on, and then we had to explain everything in the final scene. So the audience is getting hit with waves of exposition.
Next, I can't remember what this word meant. Allusion. Anyway, next.
Alludes.
Okay.
So, almost like it foreshadows. There's a lot of foreshadowing and alluding to what's going to happen later on.
You're kidding.
Coco,
You can
you
have
can have
cheeseburger.
That can't move. Step away. There we go. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
where were we?
Bless you.
Where were we?
You're reading.
Oh yeah. Next, tension. No, some tension. Some.
Some.
Where would there been tension? I suppose the life living in a box.
Yeah.
you know, trying to get him to escape, which I think could have been cooler. Or, you know,
Well, the
but
negative.
we'll probably get to that as well when we talk about Newcomer.
Sure.
Yeah. Next, point of view. I can't remember what I was.
The
making
fact that it
point to.
has 3 different points of view from 3 different characters and 3 different
yeah.
worlds.
Yeah. You get to see what they're sort of seeing and feeling a lot.
Yeah.
And what they're going through. Some characters developed.
Mm-hmm.
Some.
Not every character had character. I mean, I guess my character. Did my character have character development, or was he always a secret agent? Because he was trying to help number 7. It's not like he changed his mind. Because him changing his mind came off screen or before the even performance.
I think, now I'm thinking about it, if you wouldn't have been a doctor, you might have had to be the robot. Remember that robot you played?
Yeah, I was already going to be the boss.
Oh, okay.
I would have been probably
Okay.
the GCP guard and the character plays for Schrodinger's person.
Oh, yeah, the last. We know it's a show of a script, but now we're just having fun with it and giving it our best.
Yeah, that was like when we got to the intensive weeks, and that was actually enjoyable. When the script finally came together, when we finally fixed and ironed out all the kinks, we performed it, we had our roles, then it became enjoyable. Then it was actually quite fun, and I really did like the first few months of production, writing the script. I hated it, but once it was written and once we were actually doing it, I thoroughly enjoyed the making of it and the performing of it.
Yeah, so I remember there was that one quite intense or awkward moment. I think we just come off the back of a rehearsal day,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was during the noir scene, and I think something just wasn't making sense, and then sort of the group had a meltdown about, you know, or like a disagreement, and then Sue went to change bits of it, or not a bit, just, you know, a lot changed. Anyway, I've got negatives now.
Let's go.
Took way too long finishing the script.
100% agree with that.
So I think the deadline was like end of January or start of February.
It was, like end of January we had to be finished writing the script, and we didn't finish writing it till about beginning of March.
I thought it was after that.
I
I think. Way too late though.
Way too late, yeah. We spent way too much time writing it. And I still think we should have picked one idea, which I still think should have been the book group, and just gone with that. Because, like, imagine all the things you could have had extended scenes in each one. You could have had more characters. That, like, some of them are okay with just living the life normal, like this, chaotic. You can have characters that get erased, and then, like, the main character's like, wait a minute, this character's missing. It's like, no, he's not. He was never here to begin with. And I was like thinking, we could have had one where, like, we could have played on more genres if the play was longer.
Yeah.
And, like, I really wanted to do a musical section where, like, the main character's like, what's going on? When he's realizing the world's broken, and because then, of course, like in a musical, everyone starts singing, dancing, and no one bats an eye. But of course, if you're realizing the walls are coming apart, and you're like, "Why is everyone singing that? What's going on? I don't understand." I just thought it'd be funny. That's what I really, really wanted to do that.
This one next, character development techniques, as in we didn't really do many.
We didn't do any character development stuff. We had to do it while reading the script while performing.
Because, you know, how, like, at college we used to do that thing called hot seating.
Yeah.
Where you would be the character in this seat,
You would
and
ask
everyone else would
questions.
ask you questions, and you'd basically be performing as a character responding to them
Like
questions.
an interview.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
And I just think that would have helped a lot with, like, the illusion, because I struggle to think of who the heck illusion was. Too reliant on tech. Lots of tech doesn't always account to a good performance.
What I hated most about the actual performance itself was the fact that, like, if you just look on the stage, and all you have is 3 screens. Oh no, you got 2 screens. You got the back wall. That was it. There was no like set dressing. There was no. There was a few props, but it was like there was no environmental stuff there.
Yeah, there was
And
an
that was-
actual set.
That was because of our story. It had to be constant, quick changes. But all of the backgrounds are just pictures projected onto a
They were
screen.
digital.
We had, and it was just like there was so much digital stuff because we started like half the year, like what, from January to April, doing all this tech, like video editing, image editing, camera work. We built a whole model Mars and filmed it with
That was
a
probably
model
the best
car.
fun.
Yeah, and
Just watching that.
that was a nightmare because I did mine where I filmed in her car
Yeah.
and then I cut out her window and replaced it with a Mars background. I had to go through that whole sequence is about a minute and a half. I had to go through frame by frame that whole sequence, multiple camera angles, and perfectly cut out every window frame. Perfectly. To make sure everything was good, lined up. And then when I did the video, I then had to match it. So then I had to go through and like, okay, I have to edit this bit needs to be shorter, the key has to turn at precisely 14 seconds in, she has to drive out at precisely 17 seconds in, and then after the crash, we need exactly 3 seconds of black, and then it needs to be a slow fade into on fire under a car. You know, and it's like, we spent a whole day trying to line up these 3 models for, like, we spent weeks, absolute weeks, building and filming and then editing that car crash sequence, and then editing, like, my segment, and then we spent a whole day getting all 3, because we had 3 videos, lining them up perfectly to match each other. It was a minute and a half worth of footage. It was like important footage because it was like it showed Artemis dying.
Yes.
It continued the plot forward with, you know, Devette moving, like running away, which leads her into the Caves of Elsewhere, which leads her into the Noir, which leads her to the end of the show, and Artemis dying to guide Artemis. Now Artemis dying to guide Wilson, so it was important, but it was like, oh my days, so much effort went into that.
The second part of this performance was multimedia, so we had to basically turn it into a digital play as well.
Yeah.
So usually with a traditional play or stage production, there'd actually be, you know, a painted background or, you know, furniture on the stage for the environment. Whereas with this, everything was done on those projection screens. So, yeah, we had to. Oh man, we had to. We had to also discuss with Zill whether multimedia is useful, or do you agree with using it? Our group said no.
I basically turned around and was like, if a theatre production is too heavily involved or reliant. Come on, lie down. If it's too reliant on digital media, it therefore just becomes almost cinema.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between cinema and theatre, and I don't know.
It felt more like a film than a play.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there was so much problem with the tech aspect, and a lot of people, the entire cast, in fact, can probably agree with saying there were so many issues and problems with it.
Yes. And there are lots you could
Very little reward.
You could mess something up very easily.
You got more there, or should we move on to performance?
I rushed ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because basically just, alright, we kind of defeated her in the power of dance.
You think we're joking? We defeated her with the power of dance. Let's move on to the performance aspect.
Yeah, there's too much.
Talking about the ending.
Here. We'll be here for hours.
Yeah. This is already like the longest video I've ever uploaded.
I think in the end it was alright.
It was alright. It was pretty good. Despite the amount of annoyance it was actually doing it, when it came to actually performing it on the day of the show, it was really good.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I missed the prop, I had a syringe that was meant to pull out of my pocket, just forgot it.
Oh,
This was the first scene. I just ran off stage and grabbed it again and pretended like that was part of the show.
I didn't even notice that.
Nobody noticed, apart from me, and obviously the people on stage who I was supposed to go stage right, ended up going stage left to get the prop and then go stage right.
Yeah.
Poor lost his voice.
Yeah.
So there was a bit where I meant to inject him in the eye, and he screams. Couldn't scream, so I had to scream it for him. But I have to make it different to my regular scream, because I scream in the show as well. So
Wait a minute. That's not the
I had to do a
Yes,
deeper
gotcha.
scream, and then my scream was a much more like high pitch. So yeah. But I really enjoyed like just being backstage and just like almost watching the show. It was really fun.
Also, it was our first time performing on a proper stage.
Yeah, we actually did it in an actual stage, in an actual theatre, the Cheltenham Playhouse. It was just a brilliant environment, and like I got really bored of acting on stage, and I was like, I really want to just do film and TV acting. That's what I want to do. And then I performed on stage, on a real stage for the first time. I was like, now I get it, you know? I get why people enjoy this so much. And the reason why I was getting bored is because, well, at college, we did it every single show in the exact same place.
Yeah.
And I was just...
Wasn't really...
Yeah, well, you didn't have that hype of waiting in the wings or watching the show or having the actual audience there. It was like, it was so surreal and so different, that environment. I loved it.
I think also what helps me, because I think I've also talked about this when we just talk about the year. I had to wear a pure white suit.
You had trouble with the microphone as well.
So we had trouble with the because we didn't understand the illusion really. We were like, well, what's he dressed like? First we thought, oh, maybe like a big long cloak, like some good Dementor or something like that.
Which ended up being the costumes for the nomads.
Yeah, and we're looking at. Hello, you got an email. Anyway, so we were looking at like different cloaks. So there was this like silver or grey one. I tried. Brought it outside like, ooh, what a cool like Dark Cities. However, it looks too controversial.
Yeah. Yeah, look, a bit. Yeah.
So like, how about a different coloured one?
We tried like a red jacket and whatnot, wasn't it? Red suit jacket.
I picture it as like some steampunk demon bloke person. I don't really know, but
The problem,
some sort of like Studio Ghibli character as well, in a way.
problem brought up is that he looked too much like the Greatest Showman. That was his concern.
That bad? Really?
But yeah, then they switched it to a pure white suit.
Yeah, because they had the
So
person sorting out the costumes watch us, and it's like, you have a lot of, like, you're very active, so would you prefer
like
a nice shiny suit? It's like,
Would you like a gun?
yes, I
Yes,
would.
Hey guys,
However,
Would you
in
like
my
a suit?
mind, I thought it was going to be like one of those silky silver ones in my head. Like, ooh, yes.
but it was pure
It was
white.
a pure white suit.
Honest. Honest.
Also, problems with my hair.
Yeah, so you had to get your hair gelled back
Yes,
because they kept falling in
and
front of his
I
face.
think I realised I'm probably not going to enjoy this. And I remember touching it, I was like, this feels horrible.
Oh, it was
like-
crusty. It was like because of the gel, his hair ended up like sticking in place like glue. It was very crusty.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I remember being asked, do you mind doing this? I was like, I could hear my brain like, he's not going to like it.
You're not gonna like it, but yeah. And then the microphone kept falling out for you. I didn't get mics.
And that was on the second night. At least it was like towards the end where I realised it. 'Cause I don't remember what happened. Like it was getting loose,
Yeah.
and then when I got off stage, got changed. I noticed it down there. I was like, oh, and then got to the dance bit, and it fell out again.
Luckily, you'd said all your dialogue by that bit, so
Oh yeah,
you didn't need your mic anymore.
I could have just gone. Oh fuck, my back.
What I found funny for me is my character dies in Act 1. Do not see him again to the second to last scene in Act 2. So I was just chilling backstage for like all of Act 2, sorry. Just completely chilling, just fine. Yeah, I was there.
So, I mean, it wasn't awful in the end, but it definitely wasn't the best.
The creating process was
What let it down?
dreadful, but the actual performance, I think, was absolutely
'Cause-
brilliant. Like, actually performing it. The story made no sense.
No,
It was, but I don't know.
because I had an idea of, like, it was literally earlier today, of how the Living in a Box was vended is number 7 just going rogue, just escaping like some action film with the illusion assisting him, sort of, just
I
the
feel
two
like-
of them just trying to escape and just destroying the whole.
Number 7
Studio.
would be the one, the one to not just like try and escape, but he ends up shutting down the show permanently.
Yeah.
But yeah, where do we rank it?
Was it best in Breaker Sweat?
100%.
Do we move Breaker Sweat down there?
Do you want to put it in
Well,
D
actually,
tier? You think it's C tier?
Tempted. Do we
I think it's better than
Backstage?
these two. I think it's honestly, I enjoyed Backstage more than Persistent Illusion,
Yeah.
but again, like
It wasn't really.
it wasn't really
Ours.
our show, so I don't feel like I can rank it higher. But
Put in C. But first.
I think C.
Top C.
You don't think B?
I mean, for some reason I was thinking of swapping Persistent Illusion with The Funeral.
Right, so you think what Funeral goes down to C,
Yeah.
Persistent Illusion to B.
Bonus round. We did stage combat. So
Yeah,
we did the stage combats week, and we'll probably also talk about this another time, because it was the best week of uni.
Yeah. We'll talk about that when we talk about uni.
Luckily, we were doing a fencing routine, and we had to find like a play script. Unfortunately, it couldn't be a film script. Otherwise,
Yeah, it had to be stage play, and we ended up picking
the
Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers.
We had to adapt it a bit because the dialogue said is actually the Three Musketeers talking to a horde of enemies. So we adapted it to the two musketeers talking to each other in a battle there, and
It worked.
it was really fun. It was so much fun.
That is S tier.
That straight to S, not even A. Nope, straight to S.
Yeah.
So, here's our ranking of all of our uni shows in the longest, surprisingly the longest video I've ever done, for some reason.
There was a lot to rant about.
A lot to rant
And
about.
context.
Right, so, in F tier, nothing.
Yep.
In E tier, nothing. In D tier, break a sweat.
C.
Don't make me eat cold mash with jam. In C tier, we got Backstage. It was great. We have The Lucky Ones and The Funeral.
B tier.
We got
Dr. McTutti's Scent Emporium.
The Persistent Illusion.
Mugged.
The Newcomer.
One Man, Two Govnors.
In A tier, we have.
Oh yeah. One Man, Two Govnors.
And in S tier, we got.
Stage Combat.
And that was our ranking of every uni show we've done at uni. Ever.
Yes.
Because we only did 1 year. We're not going back. You can't make me.
No, I'm not doing, what was it called? We do like a bonus year.
No, I'm done.
No,
I'm done
I'm
with
not doing
education.
Especially when
I'm out.
it's with, yeah.
Thank you for watching this video
Thank you
or
for
listening to this podcast episode.
Wherever
Wherever
you are in the world.
either you watched it or you listened to it. I don't know where. Tune in next time.
Good evening.
In like 6 months when I record another podcast episode. Matt, do an outro.